What will you discover at Luray Caverns? From the tippy tops of their ropes course, breathtaking views of the Shenandoah Valley. From deep down in the caverns, wonder and awe from all the formations built over billions of years. And in the spaces in between, you can walk through history, see the evolution of the automobile, and even meet the mayor of Toy Town Junction. Open 365 days a year. Discover the perfect holiday adventure the whole family will love at Luray Caverns. Plan your trip at LurayCaverns.com.
Today on CityCast DC, we are talking about the latest twist in DC's ludicrous sports gambling saga. We're going to talk about the big news about the Washington Spirit soccer team, and we're going to talk about ways you can have the best Thanksgiving ever. Today is Friday, November 22nd. I'm Michael Schaefer, and here's what DC is talking about. I'm here with my CityCast colleagues, Julia Karen and Ash Durbin. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey, Mike.
So we've talked more than I ever expected on CityCast about city sports betting and something called Game Bet, which was, until this year, the city's official sports betting app. If you're just checking in with us, that app apparently blew. And not only did it blow, it also didn't make the city the money that it was supposed to make. It was a result of a weird no-bid contract to a big company that has now been unwound. They have given their sports gambling contract to someone else who's apparently, for those sports gamblers out there, apparently much better. And now the city's attorney general, Brian Schwalb, is looking for information related to the initial contract with the idea that perhaps it wasn't just a dumb contract, but maybe bad in legal ways.
In terms of ways that this could get bad for Intralot, the Greek company, this has gone from like bad to worse. No, like this is really not good.
Yeah, it's a weird moment, right? Where like you can pick up your phone and you can bet on anything in the world and anywhere in the world, but like there is still this sort of legal structure that assumes you have to gamble according to the rules of the jurisdiction in which you are. And DC is geographically a very small jurisdiction in which to be. But it all seems kind of ridiculous that, like, we have to, quote unquote, have to go with the platform that has been selected by our city government as opposed to someone else's city government. I get that, like, the point is to, like, turn this into tax money that helps fund good things. But it kind of shows the limits of the governing structure. It makes me feel like a freaking libertarian or something. Like, why don't you leave sports gambling to people who are really into sports gambling and then find a way to make sure that it's not, evil or abusive or whatever?
Is there any inclination as to like what they're being investigated for here? Is it
our pal, dear close friend of CityCast, Junaid Dill, reported this in Axios DC. And there wasn't a whole lot of detail about just what the Attorney General of D.C. can't do criminal prosecutions like this,
Sure.
So it would be a civil matter, and maybe they're just trying to claw back some of the money D.C. feels it deserves. But it's a moment where, like, again, if this was a normal American city, obviously no one likes to have a member of the city council under indictment and a high-profile city contract looking kind of like iffy. But because it is DC, which does not, have its full legal autonomy and is being messed with perpetually and probably much more intensely starting next year by a Republican-led federal government, the kind of appearance of bad stuff, has these other effects that could be quite devastating if you are somebody who, cares about like your civil rights on things unrelated to sports gambling.
In terms of like timeline, what do we know about like when this investigation started and where it's going? Do we have any information about when they started?
We know it started a little bit earlier this year, and we don't. I mean, the thing about investigations and the reason that government agencies should be quiet about investigations is you don't know where they're going. I mean, they're by their definition, they're investigations, and in the name of fairness to the person on the receiving end of the investigation, which is miserable enough, these things aren't supposed to be talked about because, like, It's not charges that where you'll have your day in court. It's just looking around and suspecting something fishy might have happened. So we don't know, nor maybe should we know. This also happens against the backdrop of another bill in the Congress this week that would take away DC's ability to license businesses or cut into DC's ability to license businesses. And this is because the Attorney General of DC went snooping around an industry that conservative Republicans are keen on protecting and feel is harassment. Just to say, like, most other places in the country issue business permits. Mm-hmm. That's like a normal thing to do of basic government. But, these things suddenly become in question in DC, and it sort of obliges the city government, the folks who run it, folks who investigate on its behalf, to kind of adopt a we've got to be purer than snow sort of outlook on life.
It's wild that, like, the argument is like, oh, we must be purer than snow, when it's like, it's sports gambling. Like, the irony is not lost on me here.
No, and that like, in this country's history, we've had a few moments of like real gambling scandal and then
Absolutely.
Backlash against it. And I feel like just, as a sort of casual sports fan and not a gambler, it's just everywhere. The constant presence of gambling interests. And I feel like we're sort of one scandal away from a big backlash. This is not the scandal.
Sure.
The scandal will be like games being fixed. But it is the kind of presence of this is a weird thing.
Amongst young people, like, sports betting is kind of having a moment. Like, it's being fed to me in ads. I read something that said 1 in 5 Americans has, done sports betting in the past. So, like,
really?
Ashman, how deep in the hole are you?
Yeah.
We're all friends here.
I have done the technique where you put in 20. I got it up to 100, and then I lost 100. So and then I stopped after that. But so it's like I lost 20. But a lot of people are sports betting now. It feels like a bad time to be messing this up. I don't know if it's a great thing that a lot of people are sports betting, but if things are weird, this is probably a bad time for it to be weird,
Right. And then for the city government, it's just, in general, it seems like no bid contracts and like vaguely dodgy local providers and, this sort of stuff just seems not a great look.
Yeah, no, it overall seems like a losing bet. I will say a winning bet that you can make immediately is to become a member of CityCast DC.
Ah, look at the way she did that.
When I'm on a roll, I am on a roll. If you head to membership.citycast.fm, you can sign up for as little as $8 a month, which I imagine is less than Ash has lost on bets. But you get ad-free listening. You get exclusive membership perks like an events email from Kayla for anybody else, which is huge, very important. And also, in addition to all that stuff, you get access to events early. So, for example, we had an event at Black Cat where we talked with DC legend Tom Sherwood about Tran White scandal. And if you want information like that, again, membership.citycast.fm, $8 a month. Easy win if you bet on us.
Have you ever tried a squid ink margarita? What about a cotton candy old fashioned? DC's bartenders are constantly raising the bar with wacky and delicious new cocktails. And what better way to try out their creations than during this year's Cocktail Week? This year's celebration is running Friday, November 29th through Thursday, December 5th, the 91st anniversary of Repeal Day. Whether you like a classic martini or a mixologist's strangest specials, DC Cocktail Week has something for everyone, with over 100 participating locations in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Warm your belly this fall with special happy hours and tasting events from some of DC's best restaurants. Visit DCCocktailWeek.com for details. That's DCCocktailWeek.com. Cheers.
Let's be real, lawsuits are not fun, but with Paulson & Nace, at least they're a little easier. Paulson & Nace is a DC law firm in every sense of the word. It was founded here in 1979. Partner Chris Nace is a local who cares deeply about the DC community, even serving on the board of the local branch of the Living Classrooms Foundation in his free time. Nace and his associates Samantha Peters and Maya Perry handle medical malpractice, wrongful death, and other complex injury cases. And they don't just settle every case. They'll go to court. They'll fight for you. Paulson & Nace has even been recognized as one of U.S. News' best law firms. So if you have been hurt or lost a loved one because of someone else's mistake or negligence, call Paulson & Nace for a no-obligation consultation. Visit www.paulsonandnace.com. That's PaulsonandNace.com. Or call 202-463-1999.
Hey, Julia, are you going to be betting on the Washington Spirit?
So I am not going to bet on the Washington Spirit in terms of like putting down money, but I am a Washington Spirit fan. This is DC's women's soccer team who are in the NWSL finals. That game is being played Saturday at 8 p.m. in Kansas City. They're playing the Orlando Pride, who are looking like a powerhouse. But DC won their last NWSL championship in 2022, so they could win their second in 3 years, which would be kind of a big deal.
Let's back up here because,
Sure.
Local teams being in the finals is a great moment for everyone jumping on the bandwagon. And
Absolutely.
We don't judge here at CityCast DC. In fact, we just want to give you the information you need to not look like a total Fairweather fan when you act like a Fairweather fan.
Absolutely.
So they're the NWSL team. What are their colors?
So their colors are like a highlighter yellow and black.
Who are their stars?
Okay, we've got Trinity Rodman, plays for the U.S. women's national team. She's a stud.
What does she play?
Forward.
Okay.
We've got Aubrey Kingsbury in goal, saved 3 penalty kicks against Gotham FC last week in a penalty shootout. She is the reason, potentially, that the Spirit are going to the finals in the first place. Elite. We have Croy Bethune. She might win Rookie of the Year.
Okay. Are there any chants or slogans for the team that people need to know?
There's a bunch that they play during games. If you've been to a game at Audi Field, the Spirit Squadron is in the fan section, and they will hold up signs for you to guide you through the chants. A couple include, Vamos Spirit, Esta noche tenemos que ganar.
They hit "We Love Trinity Rodman" to the tune of "Twisted Sisters." We're not going to take it.
It's true. It's true. We do love Trinity Rodman. She's great.
Okay. When I go to a game at Audi Field, how full is it?
The Spirit Squadron, the fan supporter area, it's standing room only. That is typically packed.
Okay.
The normal seated area, kind of around the bowl, that is less packed. But again, during like playoff games, it's been everybody in, every seat's full. The standing room only is like you're huddled up like sardines in a can. Like you can't move, but man, it's fun.
All right. The Saturday championship game, where can I watch it?
Okay. So in terms of primetime viewing, you have 2 options if you want to see it. One is you watch it home with your friends, with your family. You cook your own food, do whatever. If you've got cable, you can just go to CBS. You should be able to see the game. If you have Paramount Plus and you're like away, you should be able to see it through that too. So if you're like on the road or something, unless you're in like Kansas City and actually watching the game in person, which I am jealous forever and ever. If you want to go out, the Washington Spirit has an official watch party. That is at Metro Bar, which is near the Rhode Island Avenue Brentwood Metro stop. That party starts at 6 p.m. Tickets are free, but you have to register for them. It says it's sold out, but on Reddit, I was looking through some comments and threads. Some people have tried to sign up on mobile, and they can. So do with that information what you will. It's going to include a DJ. There's going to be face painting. There's going to be swag. It's going to be like the whole works.
If you've been to like a watch party, what's the scene like? Who goes? What are the ages? What are what do people wear to the party?
Yeah. So it's funny because you would think of women's soccer as like this wholesome kids like thing. And typically that's what they were historically marketed as, is like grow the future of the game. But when you go to a bar, it's like all adults. You're decked out in swag, mostly queer women. It's an inviting and safe space for people like that. And so overall, like packed with people. At Metro Bar, I know that they have like that huge screen area where they use a projector to project stuff up. They also have TVs bopping around so you can kind of like mill around, grab a bite to eat, grab a drink, stuff like that. So
perfect. Now I can be a Fairweather fan, but I can drop a few pieces of information thanks to Julia that let me sound like an old pro.
Yes, exactly. Other places to watch the game if Metro Bar is too packed and that is not your vibe. The Spirit have a bar network deal, so they coordinate with local bars. Astro Beer Hall downtown is where the U.S. Outlaws, who are the supporters of the U.S. men's and women's national team, typically have their watch parties. They have a great fried chicken sandwich, good beer, good TV scene. Dacha Beer Garden in Navy Yard, they're going to have a $15 Holy Trinity deal named for Trinity Rodman. We love that.
Love that.
Absolutely love it. DC Brow, one of the bar managers, said that they got FOMO. And their tiny little bar, their tiny little brewing area, also hosting a watch party, very small, very mighty. I'm sure if you ask any local sports bar in the area, I think like Walters in downtown Navy Yard area, If you ask them to put the game on, don't think they'll say no. It's on at 8 p.m. They want the revenue. Should be good. The other good bet is that a lot of local queer bars will have the game. So like a league of their own, and As You Are, those places who have watched U.S. women's national team parties in the past will probably air the game as well. So yeah, now you've gone from a fair weather fan to a sort of kind of fan, hopefully.
DC has a great, like, watching a soccer game at a bar culture.
Yes, they do.
It's one of my favorite unsung activities in DC is like when the World Cup's going on, Champions League, NWSL final. I've been to many a different bar across the city. There's a lot of soccer fans in the city, and it's always fun and rowdy. And
things like the World Cup are especially fun in this city because there are so many people from other places, and there's so many institutions from other. So foreign embassies. I've been to like events at foreign embassies, like where their team is playing, and it adds a kind like it's something you can't do in most America. I mean, obviously in this country at this point, soccer is like big enough that you can find a bar to watch soccer, and this is a country with global country, so there's people from everywhere, almost anywhere you go in this country. But the kind of institutions, like using this as an opportunity to fly the flag, is a DC thing, which is kind of fun at World Cup. And I guess the same thing in a weird way around like big time college sports, just because people do drift to Washington. So like if you're into like the University of Kentucky or something, there will be a place where folks gather.
Just to also generalize this to like general DC sports, my friend was he was saying this is like a big turning point for kind of DC sports culture and like the vibe around sports in general. We've got the final, so that's we win, we're happy, we lose, we're sad. We've got Ovechkin for the Capitals approaching the all-time goal record. And he was doing really well this season, thinking he was going to hit it, and then he just got injured.
He did. He's week to week.
So he could come back, things are in the air. And then we've got, obviously, Jaden Daniels doing great. We've had a little stumble the past couple of weeks. But it's kind of like the way he was describing it to me is like things could go good and we could be at like an all-time peak of DC sports. The vibes are incredible. We're winning. The culture's great. Or things could go wrong. And
the vibe goes downhill very quickly.
And we go right back to where we were. And maybe that's another 10 years of us being in, despair. But that's kind of a fun place to be, if a little bit terrifying.
And either way, CityCast is here with your cheat sheets to make you look like you actually know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Feel your max with Brooks Running and the all-new Ghost Max 2. They're the shoes you deserve, designed to streamline your stride and help protect your body. Treat yourself to feel-good landings on an ultra-high stack of super comfy nitrogen-infused cushion that takes the edge off every step, every day. The Brooks Ghost Max 2. Technically, they're a form of self-care. Brooks, let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
Where to eat its heat. You're listening to an app at PC Game Pass. Want new games on day one like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? How about living out your Sims life with EA Play? We're talking high-quality PC games all for one low monthly price. We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass or click the banner. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle available December 9th, 2024. Game catalog varies by region and over time. Okay, that's the ad. You can go back to doing whatever you were doing now.
For devotees of the Friday News Roundup, we ain't going to be here next Friday because it's going to be the day after Thanksgiving.
Woo!
Which means the day before that, 6 days from right now, is Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday in the whole wide world. I'm from here, so I get to spend it with family. I don't have to travel, and I tend to not really want to leave my block. But a lot of other people, much less traditional on Thanksgiving, the folks who are here couldn't go home, or people actually want to get out and like work off some of the weight they're about to put on. Point is, it's a day of a lot of activities.
Totally.
And Ash has been pulling those together. What do you got, man?
Yeah. I mean, I'm also from here. So I've spent, 90% of my Thanksgivings in town. So it was interesting to look through these and see what other stuff there is. The first thing that popped out was that the museums and the zoo are both totally open and totally empty on Thanksgiving.
Yes, that's a great secret of some museums here. They're open 364 days a year.
It's true.
And I think I'm always looking for something to do like before, the waiting for the big meal.
You need the constitutional before or after.
Yeah.
Wait, so this is obviously Thanksgiving is a day a lot of people go home. I expect that means more people leave DC than come to DC. But on those, like the morning of Thanksgiving when you've gone to like a museum, is it like, I assume, emptier than usual?
Yeah, I think they're generally more empty. I think it's a great time to go like stretch your legs, like get a walk in, kind of like get that belly ready for however many helpings you're going to hit. Great Falls, the Arboretum are also open. I love a good walk before Thanksgiving. So I think Great Falls sounds incredible the morning of Thanksgiving. If you're looking for a little bit more than a walk, there's multiple turkey trots.
I feel like people are divided into like turkey trot families and not turkey trot families,
I could never do a turkey trot.
Neither do I.
We've got America's Turkey Trot on 8:30 on Thanksgiving. That one's $65 at Freedom Plaza. You've got 2 more in Alexandria and Arlington. So if for some reason you want to go on an extended jog on the day of Thanksgiving, go for it.
And these all, you pay to enter, but the idea is that this benefit,
Right.
they work against hunger.
Yes. And in that vein, if you're looking to volunteer, you can do everything but the turkey with Central Kitchen. That is before Thanksgiving. That's November 23rd through 25th. You can sign up to help prepare meals for people in need. That's at the Edlovich Jewish Community Center near Logan. You can also volunteer with Food and Friends. Those still have morning shifts, and those are closer to Fort Totten.
I was going to say, Ash, there's people, it's not my cup of tea, but there's people who don't like cooking or some aren't able to cook on Thanksgiving. And I guess at least a few places, actually some pretty good restaurants, have sort of specials where you can take out or I guess eat in.
Yes.
What was exciting to you?
So our newsletter editor, Kayla, put together a whole list of a bunch of spots that are doing some classics and some very much not classics. You can check that out on dc.citycast.fm. The 2 I picked out, if you want something classic, Unconventional Diner has a box for $99 that feeds 2, which sounds like a pretty good deal. Comes with the classics: turkey, cornbread, stuffing, Brussels sprouts, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. Ooh. So if you want something classic, you're not cooking, maybe it's just you and a friend, that's a good one. My main shout, though, is 250 Barbecue is doing catering for Thanksgiving.
Oh my
It's
God.
also $99, but it feeds 4 people.
Hello.
Which is an incredible deal. And it gets you a pound each of smoked turkey, brisket, 2 sausages, cornbread, and 2 large sides, which could be, plantains or mac and cheese or coleslaw or whatever. $250 is so good. If I wasn't doing Thanksgiving with my family, I think I would probably not eat Thanksgiving food. So I might hit that one.
Could you order that in addition to cooking with your family as like the backup, the next day?
I might order that on like a, random Thursday in October.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But what I love about Thanksgiving is like, try as we might, and God knows we have tried in this country, it is very hard to make that day pretentious. You'll see recipes every year, what way to make, artisanal mashed potatoes or whatever, and it kind of doesn't work. And, you compare it to like the Christmas season where like everything is, how can you spend more money or make it more special or whatever. It takes a lot of the stress off. You just, there's kind of no way to be artsy fartsy about a turkey. And that's like, and I'm just saying that because even, like Unconventional Diner, which is like,
right.
It's right there in the name. It's because it's in the convention center, but it's that they try to do like creative, unusual spins on things. They're offering you, I'm sure, a very good version of home cooking for Thanksgiving because they would look kind of like idiots if they were trying to do something else.
It's true.
Well, I'll bring you my black garlic gochujang roast turkey, Mike.
Whoa.
See if I can change it.
I would love that.
That sounds really good. But yeah, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I am thankful to be working with you all here at CityCast DC.
Aw.
It's always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
Likewise.
And I with you guys. And all of us are thankful for like people who listen to us.
Yes.
It's kind of amazing. Like, it's a local podcast in a city that is supposed to be like 100% laser focused on the country and the world. And yet I keep bumping into people who will like literally recognize our voices and be like, wait a minute, are you on this podcast? And that's really cool. And I'm incredibly lucky to get to do it. And I will see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Later.
And that is all for today here on CityCast DC. Our production team this week was Priyanka Tilbe, Julia Karen, Ash Durbin, and Elizabeth Kama. Newsletter editor Kayla Cote-Stemmerman wrote our fabulous newsletter Hey DC this week. And our hosts are Bridget Todd and me, Michael Schaefer from Politico. Music is by Alex Roldan. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell everyone about it over Thanksgiving dinner? We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Bye.